Daylight breaks over the ridge. The hounds strike. No crowds, no cameras, just a track and the hounds that bring the story to life. That's what this show's about. Dogs, dirt roads, early mornings, and the people who live it. This is Creekside Chronicles. Hounds, hunting, and heritage. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, houndsman, hunter, and a lifelong student of the outdoors. Here, we chase more than game. We chase knowledge about hounds, hunting, and living the outdoor life the right way. From bear country to back roads, this is where the hunt meets heart, and every story runs a different trail. So pull up your chair by the creek, leash up your best hound, and let's get after it together. Performance starts in the feed. Inukshuk's high-fat content fuels long runs and hard hunts, giving dogs the steady energy they need, while quality protein supports faster recovery after the work is done. That's why I trust Inukshuk dog food. Packed with energy and nutrition dogs need to go further, run harder, and recover stronger. If you want extreme performance, you can look them up at Inukshuk Professional Dog Food or Corey.ca. So this past weekend was Memorial Day weekend, and today is actually Memorial Day that I'm recording this. And this morning, when I was at the gym, one of our coaches pointed out some things that I think a lot of us take for granted. It's why we're able to do what we do and what this weekend actually represents. Because there was a lot of men and women that sacrificed their lives, the ultimate sacrifice, for us to be able to do the things we do. The freedom to hunt, the freedom to gather with our friends, the freedom to speak openly, and the freedom to live the lifestyle that we love. So in remembrance of that, our gym every year, so I'm a little 2 years in, maybe over 2 years in. Last year was my first Murph that I did. So this year, we decided that we were going to do the Murph and the Hollyman. So let me tell you a little bit about those before we get into today's episode. So the Murph, it honors Lieutenant Michael Murphy. You know, he was a Navy SEAL that was killed in Afghanistan during Operation Red Wing in 2005. And it became one of the most recognized hero WODs. WODs is workout of the day in the CrossFit community because it reflects a mindset that Murphy represented. Endurance, toughness, sacrifice, and refusing to quit under pressure. And if you look up his story, you will understand that. So this is what the workout is. It's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then a 1 mile run. And your elite athletes, which at this point in my life, I'm not, they'll wear a 20-pound weighted vest. That represents the kit, the kit that he wore. And it's brutal. It's brutal. You know, my shoulders and my biceps and my triceps are on fire right now, and this is way after the fact. But the suffering during the workout is actually symbolic. Not because the workout compares to combat, because it doesn't, but because all the participants all over the country that participated in this are willing to embrace discomfort to remember people who never came home. And then the Hollyman. So this is honoring Army Staff Sergeant Aaron Hollyman. He was killed in Afghanistan in 2004. And here's his WOD, or workout of the day. So 30 rounds, 5 wall balls, 3 handstand push-ups, 1 power clean. That's for 30 rounds. And that rep scheme reflects his age. He died. So kind of just like the Murph, it represents perseverance, discipline, grit under fatigue. And we're honoring the sacrifice through that effort. But what makes the Hollyman unique is the mental grind. 30 rounds forces you to stay focused. After the beginning, the excitement wears off, which is about round 3, 4, and it becomes a test of discipline. Can you push through? Can you persevere? So we did those this morning we had a community. There's a lot of people there today. A lot of people. And I think the workouts matter so much to people because for a brief moment, the people are willing to choose discomfort and honor the men who never got to come home. So before we roll into today's episode, I just want to remind everybody listening, enjoy your weekends. Enjoy your people. Enjoy this life that we've been blessed with. But never forget the sacrifice that's tied to it and the freedom that come with it. So I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. So I posted a video this past week, Friday. I think I posted it Friday. So I've got a new pup. He's 12 weeks old, or was in the time of that picture. And I just started the scent imprinting process. So before we get too deep into it, I'm going to do a full-fledged YouTube video from start to finish with him, and I'm doing it now. Of course, we're going through the process, so it won't be put out until I get him to the end result. So that is coming, so look forward to it. But I wanted to touch on a few things that people's asked me questions. The very first question is, what scent am I using? All right, well, I have to ask myself what my purpose is. So for me, yes, I am using some type of bear scent. But the type of scent is not wholly important to me. And I know that doesn't reflect because I said scent imprinting, right? So I'm imprinting that scent. But my purpose is to get the dog down, get him using his nose. I'm pairing an odor with a reward, food and odor. And I want him to be able to put his nose down and track, or follow, however you want to say it, that trail to the end, from point A to point B. That's what my purpose is. Now, if I was strictly trying to imprint him on bear odor, then that scent would be very important to me. So there's a couple ways you can do this. I had several people ask me if I make my own. And at times, if you have a fresh bear hide that you've got in the freezer, you can cut a piece of it out, put it in like the little squirt bottle that you see in the video, and just put the hide in there with water. That water will take on that natural odor of the bear. You can make your own scent that way. It won't be as strong. It'll be diluted, of course, but it does take on those properties. Or you can do like I do. I'm just buying scent over the counter and I'm diluting it because I feel like it's super, super strong. So I am diluting it myself and I'm using that. And then I had somebody else say, well, using a bear hide instead of the scent pad, would that not be better? If you have a fresh bear hide, absolutely. But it's May. I don't have that at my disposal right now. I do have a couple pieces in the freezer, but I'm saving them for something else. And if you're using the bear hide, most of the time you're going to be using that more as a prey driver than a scent pad. But each to his own, and you can do many things with it. So I'm not saying you can't or you shouldn't. It's just not what I do. I like the scent pad because the scent pad really makes him work for that food. And you'll see him actually the very first time that he's seen it, when I drop the pad, and that'll be in the video when I talk about it. When I drop the pad for a reason, he starts playing with the pad, like he starts pulling at it and nipping at it. That's the prey drive coming out. But then, boom, nose takes over. And when his nose takes over, he's like, oh, there's something in here. And then he starts smelling the food, pairs with the odor. So just a couple things to put it out there. The odor to me is not super important, even though I am using bear odor. My sole purpose is not just to imprint on bear scent. It's to get him using his nose from point A to point B. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else to it. Just going to start. I'm starting that process. So we'll walk you through it. I'll drop some videos on my social media as we're doing this. And like I said, once I get through the process, I'm going to do a whole full-length video and put it on YouTube. So y'all can check that out. Probably be a couple months before it gets done, but we'll have it there. All right, just like we promised. I'm not going to go too deep into this one today because I think we can carry it over to next week. But we want to talk about two type of hounds: competition coonhound versus a big game hound. And I'll tell you where this conversation started. It was in Kentucky when we were sitting around eating. We had a fish fry that night and had a bunch of guys down, and you heard me talking about, we had a lot of good conversations. And we were talking about competition hounds versus big game hounds. And I know this is a hot topic. I'm gonna approach it a little differently. But let's just clarify this. All hounds are not made to hunt the same way. And if you judge them by the wrong standard, you're going to miss what makes them great. So you look at a tree and walker, which that's what goes back into my stuff mostly, right? On my old line for sure. And a black and tan, because my old line had that cross, half walker, half black and tan. Of course, we're looking at 25 plus 30, 25 years ago. But that was my line. So let's just set out some brief distinctions in the competition coonhound and the big game hound. Now, I will be the first to admit I'm out of the competition world. I've been out of it for years. It doesn't appeal to me anymore. But I also know dogs, and I also listen, and I have a lot of friends that are in this world. So I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds here. And again, it's just my opinion, right? Just like I said earlier, it gives us a right to speak our own mind. So when you're looking at the two, you're looking at independence versus cooperation. Okay, so competition hounds, they are breeding them nowadays for extreme, and I say extreme, independence. We expect them to get gone. We need them to strike and get treed fast. That's how we're going to win these hunts, right? Faster the better. Kick rocks, kick leaves, throw dirt. Bam, I need you in there sitting under some eyes. In hunts, covering another dog can cost you. Being alone, solo, is where the rewards are at. So let's flip that over to the big game side. I like my dogs to be independent thinkers, but they must work within the pack. I need them to honor other dogs. I want them to trail together. And we can run this podcast into a month worth of podcasts on that. Yes, if my dog is on its own track and it's right, I want them to stay with it. I want them to stick with it. That's that independence I'm looking for. And if my other dogs aren't doing anything, I need them to help that dog. I want them to go to that dog. I want them to become a pack and work it out. So we need that togetherness. And too much independence, can actually hurt the outcome. Splitting a pack, losing the track, spending too much time on it, or, I think a lot of big game hunters can attest to this. I've had several dogs over my career, and in fact, I got one in my pen right now that they'll slide off by themselves and get gone, get treed, and they'll have what they're supposed to be. But then my dogs are in two different places, and it takes a lot more time to cover that ground to get around to them, or I'm sending somebody else around to find my pack, and I'm trying to find them, or vice versa. So it makes things a little frustrating. Even though it's the ultimate goal, I can't say that it's 100%. And I guess I can look at that two ways. Like, I do want my dogs to be able to tree game by themselves, absolutely. But that's what makes them good, right? But I also want my pack together. If I turn 5 dogs loose, I want 5 dogs together at the end of it. It just makes rounding up dogs 10 times easier. But that's me. So one is rewarding for separated, one is rewarded for separation, and the other for integration. Right? Together, solo. So competition dogs, speed over endurance. Short time events. When I say short, I know the hour and 2 hour hunts. And I know a lot of times they have to go back out again after the hunt. First strike, first tree. Speed and decisiveness is everything. Our big game dogs, I hunt all day. Like, we out all day. Sometimes from daylight or before daylight until after dark. And in fact, I was thinking about this when I was writing some notes for this. There have been times, there's two different times in my career that, and this is back when we had the old beep beep collars. Some of you youngins may not have the luxury of this, but 2 times back in the early 2000s, I left dogs running at dark. Remember, we talked about hunting daylight till dark. I left dogs running at dark and go back in the morning and go to them treed with a bear. And one of those dogs was my old blue female, Belle, that you've heard me talk a lot about. And the other one, the other 2, was actually Frosty and a little Sackett Junior dog. She was actually out of Rock River Stone. Those 2 dogs, I had to leave them. And when I say leave them, that means I went to my truck and slept in my truck. I didn't go home. And at daylight, went back to find them. Or I'd go out and get something to eat, come back and stay the night. So that's kind of how that happened. But 2 times. So those dogs were out from, let's just say 7 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock the next day when I finally got to them. And that's just an average. I don't know that that's 100%, but that gives you the time frame. So endurance is important. Cold trailing, working out loses, staying on a track for over miles. not the ambush, a mile in there deep, bam, slam, treed. Like, they got to stay with it. They got to stay on it. And it requires you pacing. It requires staying with that animal, grit, and problem solving. So there's a little bit of a core difference there. You're looking at, the sprint mentality versus the marathon mindset. Just like today, they told us when we started that first mile, don't go out too hot, because when that second mile comes around, it's going to get you. So there's definitely a difference there. Let's talk about accuracy and gaminess. So competition dogs, they really need to be accurate. I don't think anybody likes their dogs slick treeing. And I know that circle points, stuff, they don't cost you. But the wrong tree, you can get penalized for it. Quick to stay put and locate. Style. How do they tree? How fast can you call it? It matters in scoring. So big game hounds. Gaminess. Let me put a little thought with that. For me, it's the drive to pursue tough quarry through tough country. And it's critical for me. We're going to face rough terrain. And we are after very dangerous animals. I had an old timer tell me one time, he's like, son, when you turn that dog loose, you just don't know if he's coming back. And to this day, 30 some years later, that's still in the back of my mind. And I know we don't like it, but these animals they're predators. Long races. So I need to grit, I need stay power. And it often matters to me more than looking pretty at the tree. I don't need my dogs bellied up, toenailed in, mouth back, slobber mouth, and I don't need that. I'm not looking for that. Even though it looks really good on the other side of things. We all like a good tree dog, right? How about handler expectations? Thought about this one? So the comp world, the handler wants a dog to perform independently, minimal help. I mean, the dog basically is a solo competitor in a cast of 3 or 4. Consistency in a controlled format, basically. So what about a big game hunter? The handler is part of the team, managing multiple dogs. Reads the terrain, conditions, the pack dynamics. How many of us have stood back and watched a couple of our dogs work when they're not saying a word? We just see the change in the body language. Or they're riding on top of the truck and you catch a glimpse in your rear view mirror and you see the prancing, or you see that tail start wagging, and all of a sudden the noses are going one side or the other. So yeah, pack dynamics. And I need dogs to be dependable within that group, not just alone. Like I said, I want all mine together. And this one's going to lead us into next week. It's breeding. Yeah, boy. How our selectiveness shapes our dogs. Competition lines, they're doubling down on independence. Quick strike, hard, fast, get treed. For our big game side, I mean, we got to prioritize nose and endurance. I don't see the voice being as big as it used to be. Smarts, pack sense. You get more of what you reward. And the two worlds reward in different things. Neither dog is wrong. They're just built a little different with different systems. The problem starts when people expect one to perform like the other. The competition dog that won't pack up is an asset in one world and a liability in another. Same dog, different expectations. And next week, we're going to get into the breeding and your decisions, or my decisions, and what bloodline would I look for. All of our dogs came out of Coonhound stock. We can look at it from years and years and years ago. And I can tell you all the old line that's in my old line of dogs, and I don't have any of the new line in any of my dogs. That's going to be a wrap for this week's episode of Creekside Chronicles. We appreciate you spending your time with us, whether you're in the truck, in the woods, or sitting by the creek just listening along. Thank you for walking this trail with us. And we got to say thank you to W Supply for hosting the podcast and supporting everything we do. Be sure to check them out and go to wsupply.com for all your hound hunting needs. Until next time, keep your dogs fed right, those leads tight, boots muddy, and we'll see you at the tree.
Tailgate drops before the light, coolers packed and the rig sitting right, tracking collars charged, beeping green, boots in the bed and the rifle's clean. Dog box rattling, engines hum, we're chasing bear till the day is done. Old ring barking like he knows what's near, nose to the wind, tail full of cheer. From the Virginia mountains to the Carolina clay, we're burning fuel and miles each day. Every turn's another tale, through mountain mist and paper trails. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York forest, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Rest stops few, the roads are long, but the fire in our hearts still burns strong. Wisconsin mornings cutting crisp and clear, Canada's wildwoods drawing near. Still got states we ain't run, but that hound dog fever won't let us quit. We see the sunset red in Tennessee, rise through the fog in old WV. North Carolina's pines echo loud with the cry of a hard-run hound. New York frost, Maine's deep snow, Vermont valleys where the black bears go. Truck keeps rolling, wheels don't care. We're chasing daylight, chasing bear. Gas station coffee, Alpha XL on the dash. Another back road, another bear track. Friends made fast and stories told slow. Under stars where only hunters go. We see the sunrise gold in Canadian air, and it sets on a trail down in Appalachia. Packing steel and leather, grit and care. We're built for the road and chasing bear. So load the dogs and slam the gate. There's a trail ahead, we won't be late. From dawn to dusk, we're always there, chasing daylight, chasing them bears.